Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of the Season 6 finale of AMC's The Walking Dead. Of course, this was obviously Season 6, Episode 16, entitled Last Day on Earth. Probably one of the biggest cliffhangers I've ever seen. When I think cliffhangers, I think back to being human at the end of Season 2, just hearing a gun go off, two important characters being around. But this one, it had the build-up, such a fantastic build-up. We meet possibly the biggest villain of the whole series, the whole story. And we know a major character is going to be killed, and we don't see who it is, which is, pretty frustrating. We have to wait until October, May, June, July, August, September, October. So basically 5 months once we're out of April. And into October a little bit too, of course. It's going to be a tough way to... I really hope the thing doesn't get leaked, because I'll be tempted to look at spoilers. I'll try my hardest not to. But hopefully they can actually guard a big reveal like this, well enough. Overall, it was, a pretty good finale. I'd say it was better than Season 5's finale. Quite a bit better than Season 4's finale from what I remember. It definitely was pretty damn intense all the way through. All I want to talk about is the man himself, But we'll get to that. I did take quite a bit of notes, as you can see here. And even went to the next page a little bit. But we had a lot going on, I'll just go through notes to try and keep some order here. We'll talk about Lucille and the man holding him in a few minutes, though. Throughout the episode, we were teased with sort of like a POV shot, At first, I thought it was something like a bag over their head or something like that. I know this is footage that was leaked at some point before, I think. But I don't think it was a bag. I think it was just someone's vision, being very, obscured because he's getting his head bashed in, I guess. Throughout the episode, we were teased with different POV shots. We hear people talking. I can't really make out anything people are saying. But, of course, this has to do with whoever Negan chose. Whoever Negan chose at the end. And when he was breathing, one of the times, I swear I thought it sounded like Daryl. But again, I don't know. I'm probably making too much out of that. But to tease us like this throughout the episode, then build up to not finding out at the end, it is probably frustrating. It's probably going to be more irritating to me as the whole hype of seeing Negan wears down a little bit. But still a good episode, I thought. Also, we had Morgan finding a horse, and of course, the horse, is kind of connected to one of the guys that Morgan stopped Rick from shooting in the previous episode. Of course, they're planning on bringing Maggie, who's having some issues. They're planning on bringing her over to the hilltop, most likely, because they actually have a doctor over there, and of course, the only doctor, Alexandria, was killed. Of course, Denise. It was still kind of sad to see her go. She was likable and then just killed off. That kind of happens a lot on the show. New characters finally get development, then boom. Anyway, Carl wants to leave with the rest of them to help, but he also sort of has a personal vendetta to face the Saviors. He sort of has that thing in his mind that he just wants to kind of take into his own hands. And we also have this random guy being chased down by, I wrote GTA 5, by the guy who voiced Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5. I can't quite remember his name right now. It's Scott something or other, I think. Okay, why don't I just pull it up? Okay. Let's see. Trevor. The guy who voiced Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5. And that was, Steven Ogg. Okay, it's Ogg probably, I think. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, but I actually kind of liked his character. He kind of had that good and antagonist sort of right man main henchman type feel to him. I'm not sure the name of his character though. I don't know if he's Wayne, who he's seen like the legs of previously, or if he's another. But still, I thought he played his part pretty well. Rick leaves Gabriel in charge of Alexandria. Actually, I think they probably left Alexandria too empty, really, because the most capable fighters left along with Rick to protect Maggie or to get Maggie there. So that was a little. I feel like that just played into the plot or the point of so they could have all the main characters together. I feel like they should have left like Abraham behind at least, or Abraham and Aaron at the very least, or something like that. But they all went to get Maggie over there. But I guess they figured they were probably waiting for him somewhere out there, so they had to do all they could to protect Maggie. So it makes sense, but at the same time, it's a little illogical, and I feel like it sort of just did play into just to get to the point of having all the main characters together at the end, so we'd be wondering even more than we would. But I did like that moment between Rick and Gabriel there. I really like how Gabriel is developed. He's a character we were all really irritated by, but now a lot of us actually, kind of geek out when he, does some badass stuff now. So, let's see. Of course, Gabriel says his first priority if something goes wrong is to take care of Judith. Rick actually trusts him. That's good to see. Morgan ends up finding Carol pretty quickly, actually, riding the horse around. And I always dread seeing a horse on the show ever since the first episode. I really did not want to see a horse torn apart by walkers and devoured or anything like that again. So thankfully we didn't see that in this episode, but hopefully we don't see that within the first couple episodes of Season 7 either. Carol's been shot. Apparently she actually did take a bullet during the whole skirmish with the Saviors on the road in the previous episode. Of course, Steven Ogg's character, he sets up a roadblock, and that was a really good build-up they had during the episode. Rick and the rest of them, of course, Abraham was driving, so he was trying to take different roads. They were looking at this map, trying to say, oh yeah, we can go around this way and come back into this road and go north. But of course the Sabres actually knew where they were trying to get to, so they had every point blocked off, and it really built up like a really nice wall is closing in type vibe to it, I thought. And again, I really like how Steven Ogg played this character too. I hope he's around at least for a good amount of Season 7 maybe. I think that'd be good. And yeah, just the way it really made me believe in how big of a group the Sabres actually are. Of course, we've seen more of almost their full numbers, and just that whole blockade, like one of the last ones, just all those guys around, just those few vehicles. Yeah, they're definitely getting in their heads for sure. So I don't really need to talk about the roadblocks they set up again, but that was still pretty cool how they did that. I did like the moment between Rick and Maggie, Rick comforting her, saying it's all of us, when we're all together, we can do anything, we can get through anything, and stuff like that, That was some pretty good acting in both the parts of, Andrew Lincoln and Lauren Cohen. Let's see. I did, I was going to talk about the roadblock again, but I did like when Rick first met Steven Ogg's character, Rick basically said, oh, this, kill more of you, I guess, or something like that, and then this is basically where the Last Day on Earth title comes from. I thought it was going to come from Negan, but, it's one of the lines Rick says, and, Steven Ogg basically tells Rick that, treat all of them nicely, because it's one of your last days on Earth, or something like that. It could be his or her last day on Earth, someone you love. Again, we get more of the tease of that POV shot. And Aaron, people are asking why Aaron came along. Aaron says he owes Maggie. And when he said owes Maggie, that made me think that, oh, he's going to be the one. Maybe Negan's going to go for Maggie or Glenn or something, and then Aaron steps up to take it instead. That kind of worried me in two different ways there, because I do like Aaron, but it also worried me because, that's going to be the death they're going to go with. It won't be that big of an impression, really, if he killed Aaron. But that's not what ended up happening. because nothing really ended up happening that we seen anyway. So Morgan tries to get Carol to come back. Of course, Carol's not going to. They have a good little discussion, good acting on both parts of Lane James and Melissa McBride. Carol points the gun at Morgan, but of course, Carol is, she points the gun, but of course she's not going to kill now. I also like the scene between Abraham and Sasha. Abraham asking Sasha if she'd take that risk of having babies, to really live in this world, at least they'd still be able to live in a sense, He's sort of like come around to, respecting and admiring the decision Glenn and Maggie made together. And Abraham says he would, Sasha says she would too. I do hope it wasn't Abraham that was taken there. I almost have a feeling it was going to be, especially with Abraham and Eugene seen a little bit later. But, I think, okay, we'll talk more about who might be killed or dead at this point towards the end of the video. But I did like that scene between Abraham and Sasha. Roadblock. There was that walker they had to sort of, get in their heads a little bit more, having that had Daryl's vest on and, a part of Michonne's, one of Michonne's dreadlocks anyway. We seen Michonne later, it looked like she had like a half of one, cut off or something. And it's funny that before I watched the episode, or before the episode started, there was a rumor going around, we seen this behind the scenes video and we seen a walker with Daryl's vest and Michonne's dreadlock. So people were saying, oh yeah, Michonne and Daryl might be dead now, or maybe this is Daryl as a walker and he ate Michonne. Yeah, people really love to speculate, don't they? But yeah, that's kind of the community here. And see the guy who is sort of stalking Carol, with a bullet in him. I still don't know why he made that big of a deal. It's to track her down. Maybe he knew he was bleeding out and figured, okay, I'll just go try to kill this, lady before I die or something like that. But that's kind of dumb, really. He ends up catching up with Carol. And of course, Rambo gets taken down by one guy. I do like Carol. I appreciate her development, but just her having these Rambo moments, I've just never really bought into her all of a sudden being able to do them. I know she's pulled these things off on quite a few occasions now, but we've never seen like her train or build up to being able to do any of this. But anyway, this video isn't about Carol. But the guy catches up to Carol, shoots her in the arm and the leg a little bit later, sort of, watch her bleed out before he dies. Another POV tease. Another good scene between Rick and Maggie. As Rick's getting more and more paranoid and scared, with being trapped in by the Saviors, with them pinning him down with the roadblocks and stuff, it's obvious they're trying to lead him somewhere. Maggie tells Rick she believes in him, and Rick's figured ways out of things like this before, so that's kind of a touching scene. Morgan actually shows up to help Carol, which I kind of expected, and he actually does shoot and kill this Savior and saves Carol. A lot of people kind of predicted Morgan was actually going to finally kill someone again this episode, and he did, so I'm glad he's not dead. I still do really like Morgan's character, although I think they could have handled him better with him being more of a mainstay in this season. But I was glad to finally see him be able to cross that line again for someone he cares about. And eventually they were found by a few guys with body armor, similar to the one Morgan stopped Rick from shooting. They have spears and stuff, and I don't read the comics, but I have heard about it from like Travis Chantu, and I've read a little bit into it, so I can sort of know the differences in the show and the comics. And they might be connected to something called the Kingdom, so we'll see how that goes. Eugene shows Rick, the sort of like a blueprint he made or something along the lines of like steps to making bullets. And I still think it's cool that Eugene's going about that. I know he does it in the comics too. Definitely a very useful skill or thing to be able to do for any group or any person. And Rick ends up telling Eugene, we're lucky you're here. And then we get an even more touching scene between Abraham and Eugene. Abraham giving Eugene a lot of credit, saying, I was wrong, you're a survivor. And things along those lines. I thought it was a really nice scene, and that's what made me think, is it going to be Eugene or Abraham that's going to die here after they mend their ways and have such a touching moment together. And of course Eugene ends up being captured in the RV at the end as they kind of try to divert the Savior's attention, thinking, that they won't know how many of us are still in the truck, so let's have Eugene drive in, sort of, get their attention. Well, attention while we run through the woods. Well, Eugene ends up being captured, and so do they. They end up being surrounded in the woods, and they end up being led to the point where the saviors had wanted them to. Carrying Maggie on the bed, but of course, like I said, they're surrounded. And I don't need my notes to talk about this last part. We meet Negan, the man himself, and Lucille, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I just want to say right off the bat, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is nailing this character. Of course, people are going to, complain and, just bitch all over that he doesn't curse, but, it has been reported that there's going to be a version of these scenes released on the Season 6 DVD and Blu-ray type thing that's going to have cursing in it. That's what I think, anyway. And also, I just think, even without the cursing, he still uses words like prick and shit and stuff like that. And he also, I think, just nailed down the personality of Negan, which I think is even more key than the actual cursing itself. So he still gives off the vibe I think comic book fans should want from this character. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think you guys should be too. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan's is such a good actor, and I think he's definitely pulling it off so far. He very well could become bigger than the Governor. He definitely is a different type of villain than the Governor, but we'll see if he's more interesting. I'm not sure about that part yet, but he's definitely going to be a character that I want to see around for a while for sure, and he's just played really well so far. And just the vibe as Rick's group was surrounded is so damn intense, almost a little bit scary. Just as we've seen just how cornered our group is, it was just really, really intense. And of course, watching Trev Chantu's videos, I've heard some. I've seen Tregan. I've seen him do his impersonation of Negan. So I've heard certain phrases or lines that Negan has in the comics, and see Jeffrey Dean Morgan say them was pretty fun to me. Like, are you pissing your pants yet, or things like that, and just different lines I've heard in videos and stuff. And of course, he makes a show of it. He just builds the fear up, and Andrew Lincoln did a great job showing the fear and just dreading this whole situation, as did the rest of them. For a second, I thought Abraham was just going to stand up and just defy him like that, but Abraham does sort of, get stern and stuff, so I feel like he was ready to take it if he had to. But really, Negan also has a moment with Carl, he's like, lighten up, at least cry a little. Negan and Carl end up having a somewhat interesting connection in the comic books, but I thought it was interesting. Negan sort of looked upon Carl in a different way after seeing he wasn't reacting the way he thought he would. So that part was kind of interesting. I'll just get to the point, or the end of the bat, I should say. We end up switching to the POV shot. Negan finally chooses someone after Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. We don't see who it is, but we see the POV shot of someone's head getting bashed in, and we hear the immediate shouts and screams and stuff like that. Again, we don't see who it is though, and we see Negan just relishing overdoing it. So that's kind of the episode. And who do I think was killed? It was really hard to tell. We couldn't really see the angle of it too well, I don't think, because it was angled high enough to where we didn't see which part of the RB it was sort of, the side this character was sort of on. So I couldn't tell by that. But really, I do think it has to be a major character. It has to be a character like Daryl or something along those lines, I think, unless he kills more than one person. But, it is frustrating that we didn't see who it was with the teases throughout the episode, and all of us knowing this moment was coming just to get it cut off until October. It is annoying, and people are going to be complaining for sure. But the build-up is really good, and it is a hell of a cliffhanger. Shows do have to do that sometimes. And the Season 7 premiere will probably be a huge episode, ratings-wise, and, of course, just for the fans, too. But I think it's going to have to be a higher caliber character, although I do think there's a chance it could be someone like Abraham or Eugene, perhaps. But we'll see. So overall, I thought it was a pretty good finale. Not one of the, not the best episode ever, but it's definitely going to stand out, with the first appearance of Negan, of course, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's just playing the character so well so far. And I'm really excited to see what they do with them and everything that goes on in Season 7. I really just want to see the premiere right now so I can find out who's dead. Of course, Negan wants to make a deal with him, sort of have him fall in line like the Hilltop and stuff. Of course, that's not going to happen for very long anyway, but we'll see where it goes. Looking forward to it. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys think got Lucille at the end of the episode. And yeah, so anything else I missed, feel free to comment below. I'd love to talk about it more with you guys. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, MoviePod. Look for Inspiralda.com. Catch you guys next time, and peace.